Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chessyard. This is Bagga, and I'll be playing the 5 minute bliss today on Lee Chess. So let's get started. Got the white pieces here, so pawn d4, and then bishop f4. He develops the knight first, and then d5. I'll just solidify my center by moving the pawn to e3, and then knight f3. He's playing the two knights opening there. Okay, he can capture. I can take back with the queen, so no threats. I'll try to kick away the bishop by moving h3. If he pushes back, I'll move the g4. Yep, g4 can be played here. Trying to gain some space on my opponent side already. Asking him questions. You want to take the bishop or the knight? Up to him. If you don't want to trade, I will not uh, go for the trade immediately, but rather kick away the knight from here. Okay, he's asking me questions. Uh, okay, I can take with the pawn. If he takes back with the knight, his knight would be gone with the bishop. He takes the knight now, so I take back with the queen. As you can see, white pieces are more developed and have gained some center space already against black. Now black has to give away a pawn for sure. Let's take it. So taking the knight, he takes back with the pawn, and we take back with the queen. Here I've gained some space already and one couple of pawns extra. The center pawns are eliminated from the game. Now the plan would be to develop the knight and then get the rook on the d file, attacking the queen. Oh, he's trying to save it. So here I think I can castle on the queen side rather. That gets the rook as well as my king to the safety. Rook on the empty file, always helpful. And now since the pawns are already advanced, let's try and take advantage of this. I'll be pushing the h pawn as well now. Maybe make some space for the bishop and push the f pawn as well if required. He cannot take on the a pawn. Let's push the pawns forward. Just trying to create some threat. Here he can take on the knight. I don't want to give away knight. So when you are attacking, you try to make sure that you don't give away your pieces. Here, by moving the knight, I'm threatening the bishop as well as the pawn on c7 here. Also, I'm pushing one more piece towards the king. Yep, that was the only way to save everything by moving the bishop back. No need to rush anything over here, so just keep pushing the pawn forward. I don't want to take the bishop and open up his file to attack, a file to attack me. Rather, I would just push the pawn forward. Now, question is which one? If I move the h pawn forward, that would not be very good. He can just block my pawn chain. Here, I'm forcing him to take. If he doesn't, I will take back. Yep, I can take. Now the rook comes on the empty file, attacking the king. I can take on the pawn maybe, uh, but the queen is supporting it. Need to be a bit more careful. I can get my rook on g6. That would be attacking the queen as well. Yeah, he tries to defend and cement his position, but here comes the rook on g6. Couple of threats on the queen, can capture the pawn on h6 because the pin will be there, so he cannot take back. The knight, as always, is very crucial here. It is just a move away to give a check. That can also be considered as a threat. I can get my other rook also on g1. So good attack. Always get involved all your pieces into the attack when you're attacking. Um, I can trade off, or I can just build some more pressure now. Let's build some more pressure. What if he takes away this? I take back with the bishop. Yeah, there's no attack as such. I can probably, let's wait for the kill. I'll first align the pieces further, and now I'll go for the attack. I don't think it's a bit delayed. I can take on the knight, or I can first give him a check with the. There's an internet issue. Connected Mac. Let me take on the pawn with the rook. That is threatening mate in one. Not mate in one, but maybe I can push something from there. If he takes on the knight, I would rather prefer going on and attacking from the square. He's blocking the um, diagonal of the queen, and I can't take here. So I'll get back with my rook, attacking his king. He's trying to kick away my knight here, and the obvious option is to give him a check. If he takes back with the rook, which probably he will, I can take back with the rook, and still he cannot take back my rook again because I have a couple of rooks aligned. So advantages here. Everything is pretty much solid and completely attacking the opponent, making sure that every piece is being used in the attack. Here I can take on the rook first. He will take back with the queen. Now, what's the follow up is something we need to look forward to. Can I just sack away one more pawn to get some position opened up for the attack further? If he doesn't take, I will take for sure. If he takes, I can take with the bishop. Just opening up the situation. I don't need those pawns. I'm +5 already in the game. Comfortable on time as well today. Unlikely. Too much of things to be calculated. That's why he's taking some time. Point is if he takes or he doesn't take. Here I can take with the pawn. Give him a check. The only square he has is a couple of squares. Can go to. Now I can take on the rook for free. Yep. And this knight is hanging, a threatening mate from multiple places now, and he resigns. So lots of pressure when you're attacking. Go with the complete all the pieces and don't go for exchanges. Is the formula for such kind of an attack. Yep, it was mate in five. All he could have done was to delay the mate. If we analyze the computer once, let computer analyze the situation, and meanwhile we will just run through the game quickly. Just a recap. Start off with d4, knight f6, and then bishop to f4. Always trying to develop the dark square bishop first, and then closing the diagonal of the bishop by moving e3. Also giving support to d4, and then he brings the other knight as well into the game. A normal development move from black, and here I play knight f3. He responds with bishop g4, attacking and pinning the knight over here because queen lies behind. And here I try to just remove the pin immediately by moving h3. He goes back to f5, and I went with pushing him backwards by moving g4, advancing my pawns as well. Here he moves bishop to e4, and I offer him bishop exchange, and he moves the pawn forward. This pawn on e5 was bad move for him, which I made sure I punish him. Captured with the pawn. He takes my knight now, and I take back with the queen. As you can see, computer suggesting I'm 2.2 points ahead already, and it's just move number 9. Here he gets his knight in between, and of course I had to take and win another pawn from there. The reason why computer testing 2.8 here, and if you see positionally, it's more of a position advantage than uh, pieces advantage. I'm just 2 pawns ahead, but here there are lots of threats. Knight can be developed in the next move. Rook is coming on a d file, and queen and bishop are already in control of the game. Meanwhile, black hasn't castled, hasn't developed his bishop. The queen is still on very much restricted. The knight also isn't doing anything. The knight can hop in to few squares, but all of them are controlled with the queen. If he comes over to the b4, just a simple move like pawn to c3 would control it. So yeah, not very much positional things happening for the black. So that's why computer suggesting that white is 2.8 ahead. Here he develops his bishop, and I develop the knight to c3 here. So computer suggesting to develop on d2 with the idea that you close the queen file and then castle on the queen side maybe. That was the plan. That was the line that computer was seeing. But here he did again a bad mistake by moving his queen away. And here I first took the advantage of castling quickly on my queen side, aligning my rook towards the center where the king is still there, and he also castles. And now I tried to push the pawn forward. Yep, I didn't see the knight move immediately, but eventually I played it as far as I remember in the game. I keep pushing my pawns because whenever you see that you have castle on the opposite side of the board and opponent hasn't developed anything much, and you can go for the attack and directly push their pawns forward. I had a couple of them extra already in the game because I played the opening well, so I kept pushing my pawns. Here he tries to pin my knight, but now I close the queen diagonal, attacking the a2 as well as attacking the bishop. He goes back. I could have, yep, computer suggesting play the h pawn forward. That's what I did in the game. h5. He brings back the bishop, but it's of no use. Very much inactive behind the. It's against the wall of pawns, and literally the king is also on the other side of the board, so it's not threatening anything. And here he moves the pawn forward. Computer suggesting go for the kill directly, take on the pawn and let him capture back. So if I take and he takes back, the idea is to give a check. And here he has a couple of move places, but of course he will try to stop the pawn as well. Here I can take on the pawn, open up the file as well. If he takes back, we're just coming up with the rook, and he has only got one place remaining. And then we get the queen. So that's basically trying to checkmate him as soon as possible. If he plays the rook, then it's mate in one. If he plays some other rook, then also it's mate in one. I can take from here as well. That's mate in two then. So computer setting open up him completely. I didn't see that line, but my attack was also pretty much good enough for the game at least. So I took on the pawn. He takes back with the rook. I get my rook on the g1, attacking the king, and yes, then finding the best move from there on, uh, and attacking the queen. He could have given queens for trade over there, but he wanted to save his queen because he was already pawns down and position down, so he wanted to save his queen. Here I get the other rook as well into the attack, and things don't look good at all for white, for black. Here I capture on the pawn. He can't do much, and again bringing the rook back on the g file. He tries to kick away the knight, and knight goes on a good square. He didn't capture, so I took his rook. He takes back with the queen, and now I again pushed the h6 with the idea if he captures, which he doesn't, gives me an opportunity to capture. He goes to g8, and I take the rook, and then he resigns. So it was just about putting an end to his misery, which I took a bit time to, but yeah, checkmate was unavoidable. Queen e7 was the best over there. Completely controlling the game. If you see the game throughout, it was in control of white. Went nowhere in favor of black at all. So Yeah, a dominating win. Average centi pawn loss of 34. One mistake, as per the computer, not getting your knight positionally strong on d5. Yep, that was one of the things. And inaccuracies are probably those where I played the pawns forward or didn't move the knight d5 here, again counted as inaccuracy. Not moving the knight and but pushing the pawns forward. But again, my plan was not. Of course, it can't match the computer line, but the plan was always to push the pawns forward and create some weakness on the king side where he has castled. And of course, I had castle on the queen side, so no attacks happening over here. He could have gone for some counter attack, but probably I didn't give him space to do it, the time to do it. So I hope you like the video. I hope it was instructive as well. Keep sharing your comments and keep watching. Thank you so much for your time. Take care. Bye bye.